when my friend and sister, Mary Ann Spraggles, informed me last week of Evelyn's transition and said that they wanted me to give the homage, I immediately thought about in the Bible the story of Esther, who had, because of no arrangements or any preconceived notion of her own, found herself in a palace of power and found herself in a position that she could influence and talk to those in power. When an issue arose that could lead to the destruction of her people, her uncle Mordecai sent word to her that maybe she has come to such a place for such a time as this. I thought about Esther because when I first met Evelyn Cunningham, I was 14 years old. There was a major controversy in the state. Governor Nelson Rockefeller was the governor, and I was youth director of Operation Breadbasket in Brooklyn. And the young youth department that I led, and I went to march on Governor Rockefeller's office. After marching a little while, someone came outside and said that Miss Cunningham would like to see you. I said, who is Miss Cunningham? And they said, follow me. And I didn't know whether to go or not. I didn't want to look like I was leaving my friends and supporters, but I also didn't want to not know what someone inside Governor Rockefeller's office down on 55th Street would want with me. When I went inside, I met this elegant woman who looked at me and said, what is it that you are seeking? And I started screaming and hollering. And she said, well, eventually I guess you'll get to a point. And I continued screaming and hollering. And finally she said, young man, you're not going to scare me. I know Fidel Castro and I knew Malcolm X. So why don't you calm down and let me tell you how this is done. She said, you outline what it is you demand. You say what your grievances are. You find out what you want to accept and not. And I will try to work something out. You go back and tell the old preachers that didn't come that you did what they sent you to do. And I'm going to have Mary Ann take you and the kids to get some lunch when you get through March. And then I met, Caroline. She introduced me to Caroline Taylor, who worked for her, and Caroline had the first minister I ever saw in my life. And that began a relationship that has lasted almost 4 decades. That's who Evelyn Cunningham was. She never, ever achieved a position that she forgot why she was there. If there is a legacy that we should remember, and there are many that she leaves us, certainly her style, certainly her elegance, certainly her way with treating people as only she could. But I think one of the legacies she wants most to be remembered for is even when she would reach high places, she never forgot why she was there. We read and heard the story of how she marched in the South and fought segregation. But there were others that fought and others that marched, and as soon as they got from the streets to the suites, they forgot why they were there. Evelyn never forgot. There was no position you could give her that would compromise her integrity. There was no title you could give her that would separate her from the will and beliefs of the people that she represented. She was there for a reason, which is why she lasted longer than Evelyn Cunningham never changed. America changed, the environments changed, the places she sat changed, but the core beliefs she started with in North Carolina, she had until last week. And she would always warn those that were given the privilege of serving at high places to don't forget why you are where you are. And don't forget those that pay the price to put you there. I would always debate with her politics, and she would always say, it doesn't matter what the party is or the position. It matters what we're going to do about it. And at the end, if people are not helped, it really won't matter with all the incidentals that go along the way. As time would go on and I would get more known, I would remember showing her some nice article someone would write. She would always say, well, I have this to show you. And she'd give me some scathing piece, Jill Nelson or somebody would write just to humble me and bring me back down. That was Evelyn's way of keeping me balanced. I remember there were days when I had decided to lose a lot of weight, took off the jogging suit with Daddy. She looked at me and said, oh, so we've slimmed down a little bit. Got dressed up. I said, yes. She said, is this some strategy? I said, no. I said, what really happened is my daughter, who had got a little older, looked at me one day and said, Dad, why are you so fat? And why do you wear those ridiculous running suits? So that is what made me change Miss Cunningham, because one thing when the press reminds is another when your own child is such a thing. She says, I wish you'd known that's all it took a few years ago. Evelyn mothered us. She tried to bring out the best in us. What made her so unique, though, was that she saw the best in us when we were at our worst. She saw our potential when we would have settled for so much less from ourselves. She challenged us to be the best person we could be, knowing our flaws, knowing we could make mistakes, but knowing in the end that if we had a contribution, that we could find it if we would just get past and beyond ourselves. She was elegant and grassroots at the same time. She was eloquent, but could talk to people that were unlettered in a way they would relate. She lived a long life, but she never got old enough to lose her style. She never became so aged that she lost her swag. There was something about Evelyn that defied time. Something about her that grace and time seemed to find a perfect combination. She started when her people were at the back of buses, barely out of slavery. She made a transition with a black sitting in the White House and sitting at the head of the Justice Department. In no small measure, because she helped fight the fight. She fought it not only with her feet, she fought it as a journalist and refused to not tell our story, even when she challenged us in telling our story. Even when she would take those out front to task, she always had her eyes on those that were at the end of the march, whose name would not be recorded in the paper, but were therefore cause bigger than the leaders that would be on the